Hey family, welcome to How Love Works, where we talk about the principles for lasting love. Hey, I was thinking about Donald Trump of all people today. I was thinking about how he has become pretty much the most hated president we've ever had, at least among a large number of Americans, especially perhaps a predominant number of black people. And and it made me think of another subject. Um, it's primarily because of the way he has been perceived. It makes me think about another group of people in our nation that have been perceived in a negative light. And that group of people, sadly, are African American women. Being a obvious son of an African American woman and a man who has two daughters and a daughter-in-law and several granddaughters, I have gotten to a point right now that I think it's probably a good time for me to talk about this issue. I will say before I introduce this issue to you and this subject, that it's maybe controversial for some of you because of the way you have been seeing this particular subject matter. I want to talk to you today about why is it that everybody hates black women? Why is it that everybody hates black women? Well, I will tell you, in my view, it's just my view, I think it's primarily for two reasons. One reason, in my view, it has to do with envy. The other has to do with expectation. Let me say this. It's no secret that I've been married at least 3 decades. I have been very satisfied and content within my marital commitment. But I will also add that the perspective that I'm going to give on this issue is going to come from the framework of not only my biblical understanding, but I also have a historical perspective on this issue. And it may surprise some of you, and some of you may just say, well, he's bought and sold, he's just a feminized man. You're entitled to your opinion. Here goes. As far as I'm concerned, everybody hates black women. It kind of reminds me also not only of President Trump and people's hatred for him, but it also reminds me of that Chris Rock show, Everyone Hates Chris. People hate black women so much that even other black women hate black women. Black men top the list. Black men hate black women. The media hates black women. White folks, I don't think in general, but I would think, at least from a black woman's perspective, believe that a lot of white folks also hate black women. Now, I think one of the reasons why other people may have some problems with black women, I will say this, is that yes, there are some black women who have done a tremendous job at showing the most ignorant side and the most Neanderthal, infantile side of the black woman. That's obvious. You could say that about any group of people. You will always find a small group who represents the worst of any group. That's a given. That's whether we're talking about black women, black men, white men, Asian, Hispanic. It doesn't matter the ethnic group. You're going to find that. But I'm not talking about the minority. I'm talking about the majority. The vast majority of black women have been lumped in with the minority. And so it's sad to say that a lot of black women, in my view, are many times not given an opportunity, sometimes, in my view, sometimes, to show that there are many black women who do not share the views and the attitudes and the affections and the actions of the minority. And this is the envious part of my discussion on why I think many people, or everybody in my view, do not like or hate black women. When I think about black women, and I obviously love them because I have a bevy of them, I have a lot of them in my life. Black women, in my view, are the Wonder Women. They are the true Wonder Woman. Now let me explain that. For some of you brothers out here who have had some very negative relationships with women, I don't know your particular situation. I don't know what you did or what you did not do. I don't know why you are attracted to certain types of women and not attracted to others. I don't know if it's your style. I don't know if it's your leadership style. I don't know it's the way you came on to. I have no idea why every time there is a conversation relative to black women, it's always going to be negative because these are the women that you continually deal with. I work on the base. I'm not going to say what base I work on, but I work on the base, and I deal with women, especially black women, all the time. And yes, I do run into many who have some issues, to say the least. But I also run into just as many who are just as kind, just as sweet, just as gentle as anyone else. And I think it just depends many times on how I approach the woman. Okay? Now, my take on the reason why everybody hates black women is because from an envious perspective, black women, they cover the gambit in color. When it comes to variety, no one beats the black woman. No one. I will even say this. I will even add this caveat when it comes to black women. Aesthetically, now this is my opinion. You feel free to disagree. Whether you like black women or you disagree with me about my premise, that's fine. But I don't know if you could disagree with this. From my perspective, aesthetically, no woman on the planet can touch a black woman. Period. That's just my opinion. Okay? They come in colors darker than me, all the way down to looking like they're white women. That's the variety we have in our culture when it comes to black women. They come in all shapes and sizes and curves. Beautiful women, absolutely gorgeous. There is nothing, in my view, that can touch a black woman. Nothing. Aesthetically, they're just gorgeous, beautiful creatures to look upon. Another attribute about black women that I just admire so much about is I admire their confidence. Now, there are some things about their confidence that I think they can make some adjustments on, but I admire their confidence. That confidence gives them power. I admire that. I know I've read my share of all of the black women, both in the continent or on the continent of Africa, but as well as the women in North America, who have done some powerful things on behalf of the African American community and on behalf of the African continent. Black women have always been very, very, very powerful in that arena of leading and doing all that they can for their people. They do it even to this day. Another area of envy I think that a lot of people have regarding black women is their desire to nurture not only their own children, but to nurture people outside of their own families. Black women are tremendous nurturers. It doesn't seem that way. Now, I'm not talking about a lot of these millennials so much, but I'm talking about a lot of women that I grew up with. I mean, I'm a baby boomer. Those are the women that I'm coming from my mindset. Now, I know there's some women today that still do those kinds of things, but not like it was when I was growing up. But those are the kinds of women that I saw. The classic beauty, the dignity of black women. Just absolutely phenomenal. Just phenomenal. You know, all of the things that people look at, that they see in black women, like their strength, these things are looked at in a negative light. Because I will say this, I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and I know you guys probably heard this phrase. When it comes to power or strength, I like the line in the Spider-Man movie. With great power comes great responsibility. And in my view, black women have been given a great power. And unfortunately for many, they have not learned how to use their great power responsibly, meaning they have not been able to use it, at least in the last 30 years or so. They haven't been able to wield that power responsibly for the betterment of the African American community as a whole. It has worked very well for them in terms of the job and their career. It has worked very well. But the skill set needed to transition to a personal relationship, that's where it has fallen off. But that's one of the reasons why there is such envy, I think, with African American women, because of all those tremendous assets that they do bring. That if you just think about the benefits, you wouldn't be so focused on the negative. Now, that's one aspect of the reason why a lot of people have a difficult time loving, if you will, or giving love or showing love to the black woman. Another one is expectation. Expectation, I'm referring to the culture. And that would include all of us, black men, the culture, white folks, the dominant culture. There's an expectation when it comes to black women that is, to me, in my view, is rather hypocritical when it comes to black women. What I mean by that is that there's an expectation that black women can't be vulnerable. They can't be gentle. They can't be kind. They have to almost stay in their masculine persona all the time. And I think because the expectation that black women have been able to play the role that they play, and they've done it so well, that sometimes society won't let them be women. They won't let them show their vulnerable side. They won't let them show their receptive side, their feminine side, because they're playing the role. They're wearing the mask because of the expectation of society and their own expectation that has been given or has been inherited. They have inherited from their mother, who passed this legacy down from one daughter to the next daughter to the next. But what actually occurs many times in relationships, just on a relationship level, many black women are missing out on other areas of life because they have been so successful in other areas of life, especially in the area of career achievement, academic achievement. They're missing out on other areas of life that are just as important, that will bring balance and even contentment to their life. But the expectation of society has really played havoc on many black women. And that expectation that black women are always to be the stalwarts. They're almost like, as I said, they're superheroes. They can't ever show any weakness of any kind. And it has not benefited black women. And I think what's happening is there is a, I guess you can say a silence of the lambs kind of mentality among black women. It's a lot of depression in the black community, especially among black women, because they desire many times the intimacy and the love and the care of a family. They want family. But their expectation is that they're supposed to initiate all of this. They're supposed to maintain it all. They're supposed to keep everything moving. And when you have that expectation on you, and then at the same time you are dealing with this understanding that many people have a false view of the average black woman. I'm not talking about the minority, the one that get all the press and all the shows that the media show, all this ignorance from these particular black women shaking their behinds and spending money like it don't matter and talking out the side of their mouth, and every other word is an F-bomb, and they don't know how to have close relationships. They don't even have the skill set for partnership, but they claim they want it, but they don't have the skill set for it. They don't know how to form lasting relationships. They just don't know. I'm talking about the women that want to do all the things I just said, but because of the expectation of society, they're silenced. They don't even get a chance even among their own men, even among us. A lot of brothers deal with some of the younger women in school, and they have been manipulated by society to believe all of the nonsense and the lies, because a lot of problems that a lot of black women are experiencing in their interpersonal relationships are due to lies that they've signed on to, that they believe. And then they try to live these lies out in reality, and they quickly find out that these lies are just what they are, lies, but it doesn't register. It never registers because they stick with it because they don't really believe it is a lie. They're just experiencing the consequence of doing some of this foolishness, looking for outcome equality in all relationships. That's foolishness. That's a lie. You're not going to get outcome equality. That doesn't happen. There's no such thing. There's no such thing. Relationships take time. There's no instant. All relationships take time. Relationships take work. You don't just fall in love today, move in tomorrow, have sex in 5 minutes, get married. That's not reality. But that's what people believe because that's what they see on TV. And we all know TV is real life. I've always told my daughters, whatever you see on TV, always take it with a grain of salt. Because whatever you see on TV is for entertainment purposes only. It's not real life. What you see in this house with me and your mother, and the way I treat and communicate my love for your mother and my love for you and your brother, that's real life. That is what you need to pay attention to. You need to look at life from that perspective. And so I'm going to go ahead and end this on this note here. This is the reason why this issue of hating black women is so deficient and toxic. Because as a people, it says something to me. Now, as I said, I admit the fact that there are some really bad black women out there. I know this, but I don't focus on that. See, wherever you focus on, that's what you're going to get. I recognize that, but that's normal. I'm not going to give up on my people, and I'm certainly not going to give up on the women in my life or the women in the African American community. I'm not going to do that just because there are some fools. You're always going to have fools. You're always going to have poor people. You're always going to have rich people. You're going to always have people who just believe any and everything they hear and see. But I'm not going to throw the baby out with the bathwater because there's some fools. That's why this is so important. We cannot, as a people, separate ourselves and just point the finger at black women. There's a lot of reasons why many black women are the way they are. It starts out from the head. As a book, I'm always talking about the book, right? I'm always talking about the Bible. And I'm going to say this and let you go. Man wasn't made for women, but women were made for man. So, with that being said, a lot of the things that you're seeing in our community is due to the abandonment of men in our role in our family and the establishments of family. And until that is rectified, you're not going to see a lot of change, even from the minority of women. A lot of women do not trust men, especially black men. And they have a lot of good reason for that. I don't necessarily appreciate the way they show their disrespect or show their distrust in black men. I don't necessarily like that, but I do understand why. Because it would be them doing the same thing we're accusing other people that are doing to them. It's almost a blanket expectation or a blanket curse upon all black men. We all know that all black men are not dogs. We all know that all black men don't sleep around with everybody like they're addicted. They have no self-control. We know that. But if you are a black woman who have been taught some things and you've been living and dealing with certain kinds of men, and you will not take accountability for your choices, because you are a human being and an adult, I will treat you as such. And if you continue to pick dogs, that's your problem. That's you picking the dog. If you stay with them and you're having babies with them, that's you. It has nothing to do with men. That's you. It would be no different if it was me. It would be no different if it was a man and he was doing the same thing, picking wrong woman after wrong woman after wrong woman. He can blame women all you want. It's him. I play no favorites with that because I feel like you're an adult. You can make your own decisions. And when you see things going south, if you don't have a value system that will protect you and you want to live your life based on feelings, that's your choice. But understand, there's consequences. So, why do everybody hate black women? Because they're envious. Why do everybody hate black women? Because of the changing expectations. You can agree with it. You can disagree with it. That's my time. I thank you for yours. See you on the other side.